Hey, if you're tuning into this podcast, you're likely searching for a spark, the insight, the breakthrough, the secret weapon to take your game to the next level. We aim to be that for you, your trusted guide, your brainstorming partner, your source for ideas that inspire action. We're here to motivate, inform, and share what you need to thrive. So settle in, because together we're unlocking your next big opportunity.
Welcome to the Agents Confidential podcast.
So, Yana, I asked you a question yesterday about the whole idea of subscribing to a podcast and how I am a little bit older than you, just a little. Subscribing's free.
The more support that we have from subscribers, likes, shares, the more that we can grow and provide even more value and potentially some really cool guests.
I would love to have some guests.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
If you're interested in being a guest on our show.
Yeah, we have a page on our website. It'll be linked below to let us know you want to be a guest, and we'll reach out and have you on. Today we're talking about reflecting on 2024 and building a strong foundation for growth in 2025.
I'm excited for 2025.
Me too.
And
Be a good one.
I think it's one of those things where a lot of times people will glorify the new year and possibilities, but it's almost like when we go to sleep every night, most people sleep every night, it's just hitting the reset button, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday might have sucked. Last month might have sucked. AEP
After this one?
might have been challenging for everyone. That you get to hit the reset button saying, all right, what are we going to do? So I'm curious on what are some of the things, maybe let's give the listeners a little bit of an outline that, and reasons why they should be listening to this podcast, especially today. What are some of the things that we're going to go through so they have a sense of that?
Yeah, we're going to be going through reflecting on your year and some reflection questions for you to sit down and take a minute to really, really reflect so that you know where you stand and where you want to go. We're going to talk about setting goals for 2025. We're going to talk about some key ideas from one of my favorite books, Atomic Habits, some key ideas, some application directly to your business, and some actions to take. And then we're going to talk a little bit about vision boards too. That's where we're at.
One thing that I always think in a review is let's try to be positive, right? So in reflecting back on your 2024 year, what were some of the biggest accomplishments that you had in this industry, in your life in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would the next one be?
Next one is going to be biggest challenges. So taking a look at what challenged you in 2024 and hopefully, seeing how you handled those, or maybe they're still challenging you and maybe it's time to find a new solution or try something different.
And I think in looking at that, like, what are some of the lessons you learned, good and bad,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, it's interesting. Denzel Washington recently was doing some speaking and said, fall forward and fail forward. It's one of those things where if you're not stretching, if you're not uncomfortable
Mm-hmm.
and you're not failing, you're probably not pushing yourself far enough.
Totally agree. Yeah.
And you can look at that in weightlifting, in golf. Oh, there, I said it.
Drink. So we're going on a little side quest. Eric used to be a golf pro and is still very, very great at golf. And if any of you know him, you know that he talks about golf almost every time you see him, which is great, and we love it. We had a company Christmas party, and our lovely coworker Sydney and I, we came up with a little drinking game where every time Eric says golf, take a drink.
It's gonna get a little sloppy. If you keep asking me the right questions, I will continue to say my favorite 4-letter word, golf. Yep. Back to some of the things that we want to look at for key reflection points. And we're in business, right? So it's okay to talk about business and numbers, profits, revenues, having some metrics that you're tracking your business. I think when some people start, staying in business is a huge accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
Paying your bills. I mean, agents listening to this are going to be, in all stages, and we want to speak to you in all stages of your career, from starting out to feeling like you've got your feet running, you've got some systems, to achieving levels that maybe you thought you never could or didn't aspire to, but now, holy shit, I'm here.
And thinking about that production for your year, taking a note of the amount of policies written, your revenue, how many new clients, etc., and just tracking those numbers that really do make a difference, so that you know where you stand now and where you want to be and what it's going to take to get to that next level where you want to go.
It's really funny for myself looking back at, putting in the time of calls, emails, going to events, following up with people. And sometimes it feels like luck when you accomplish what you are inevitably trying to get, is a sale or a recruit, or getting a signed contract or something like that. And there's a lot of things that go into that we lose track of.
Mm-hmm.
And looking back at it now and saying, okay, I brought in this client. Where did they come from? Mm-hmm. Referrals. Maybe I bought leads. I met them at a coffee shop, overheard them talking, just introduced myself, what have you. Working with key referral partners, knowing where the business came from, mm-hmm. and then being able to repeat that
Yep.
over and over and over again, I think is a great strategy.
Absolutely. And speaking of strategies, taking a look at your marketing strategies and what worked best, what you just said, really taking a look at your clients and your production and seeing where it came from and duplicating that.
But agents don't need to market. Everybody knows who they are.
Do they?
If a senior were to wake up tomorrow and they were like, oh my gosh, I need to figure out this Medicare puzzle, how would they know you? How would they contact you? Where would they have heard of you before? That senior that you don't know, that is looking for, is perfect person for you, perfect client, doesn't have to be a senior, sorry. Perfect client that you're looking for is like, oh my gosh, I need help in this area. How are they going to find you? I want you to answer that question to yourself. And then that will start you on your track of having good marketing. Because it's weird. I saw and heard 3 Coca-Cola ads on the way into the office today. I saw a billboard. Mm-hmm. I saw a delivery truck that is plastered on the side. Mm-hmm. And I heard an ad on the radio. That's all marketing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Maybe, I don't know if we need to define marketing, because most people think it's paid for ads.
Marketing, the activity or business of promoting and selling products or services, including market research and advertising.
Okay.
We can go so deep into that too.
And we will.
And we will. We're going to have lots of episodes on marketing, so and how to do that. But
stay tuned and subscribe.
And we just wanted to start this first episode with reflecting and goal setting, but we will be getting very deep into the weeds of marketing.
Good.
Yeah, so another part of reflecting on your year is ask the people in your life. Send out client surveys. They can stay anonymous or whatever that is, but one of my favorite quotes is, and I don't know where it came from. I know a friend told it to me before, but wherever it came from before that, I have no idea. It's, you can't read the label when you're inside the bottle. So looking to the people in your life, your coworkers, if you have them, your team members, if you have them, or if
we would love to be a help.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're a solo agent, some of your friends in the business or whatever it is, ask them for some reflection. I know in our company meeting, I was like, I'm open to reflection from other people, because I can't see what everyone else sees. And it's really helpful to have those other perspectives of the people that are important to you to fill in those gaps and help you to grow in ways that maybe you didn't know that you needed to before. And yeah, but you can't read the label when you're inside the bottle. So ask your colleagues, ask your clients, what can I improve on? What do you like about working with me? Ask and be open to it.
I think it's maybe one of the best reasons to be part of like a BNI group.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people get into those because they want more business. They want referrals.
Totally.
But to be a colleague, a coach, an advisor, an agent that you can speak to confidentially, Agents Confidential,
That's us.
that you can get that insight. And it can be really hard because we all want to be friendly and not ruffle feathers, but sometimes people need to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And saying, well, I'm trying to do this. Well, why do you spend so much time doing X
Yeah.
if this is what your goals are? It
Mm-hmm.
really, and sometimes it just takes that outside perspective to call you out on your shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Which we all need. We all need that.
So after you've reflected on your business, you've looked at some accomplishments and challenges, we got to start looking at goal setting.
So, Atomic Habits is a great, great, great book. One of my favorite quotes is, "You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems," by James Clear.
I like that.
It's one of my favorite quotes because it's so true. And systems are so important for anything and achieving whatever you want. So there are some actionable points that you can directly apply to your life and business. And there's, what do I have? 4 of them? I have 4 of them. So first one, start small, the 1% rule. This key idea is tiny, consistent improvements compound into very significant results over time. Your business application for this is commit to small daily improvements in lead generation, client engagement, personal development. Whatever's going to help you to grow your business, just do a little bit of it every day, and it will compound over time over the course of 2025.
I got a great golf story to add to that is Zach Johnson said one time, and he has gone toe-to-toe with Tiger Woods. He has won the Masters, and he's not like he doesn't overpower a golf course, but he talked about every day the mundane thing about getting better, and he actually said on TV, he's like, I'm just trying to get 1% better every day, more consistent. He hits his sand wedge 100 yards. But does he hit it 105 sometimes? He's trying to be as consistent as possible. How many calls do we make in a day? Does that number change with success or with poor results? If we don't sell a hospital indemnity plan 10 times when we've offered it, do you stop offering it? Because you shouldn't. You should be giving your clients consistent guidance, regardless of whatever the last client chose to do.
Totally agree. Yeah. So, an action that you can take, and consistency is definitely one of those important things to apply to your life. But some actions you can take to implement this 1% rule of small, tiny, consistent improvements. Reach out to one more prospect every day. Learn one new industry fact or policy detail every day. Improve one element of your marketing materials every day. Just one small thing every day is going to drastically improve throughout the course of this year.
There's a really good quote. The success that you are trying to achieve is in the work you're avoiding. Right? Again, the success that you're trying to achieve is in the work you are avoiding. I don't want to call that client. They always talk to me too long. It takes up too much time. Maybe that client has referrals for you.
Totally.
Reach out to another one. I like that. Let's do some more goals and things that people can do to achieve their goals.
Yeah. So this next one is the habit loop. So this is the loop of what it takes to create and build a habit and keep it. So there's 4 pieces to this. It's cue, craving, response, and reward. So this key idea is understanding and optimizing the habit loop to form or break habits. You can also use this to break habits that are not productive for you. So business application for you to do is identify and optimize the habits that drive your business growth. So take some time. You should be doing this in your reflection anyway, so you should know exactly what that is or have an idea of what drives your business growth, and optimize habits to make that happen sooner and more consistently and better every day.
These could be non-business habits as well.
Very true. Yep.
Like,
It could apply to your life, to a morning routine to whatever you want to improve and optimize in your life.
Do you work out most mornings?
Most mornings, no, I'm an afternoon.
You're an afternoon workout person. I know when I work out in the morning, I'm a better version of myself.
Yep.
Or when I'm sure that, if you skip an afternoon workout, that next day you're not probably the best you could be.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Or that extra beverage in the evening or whenever they're taken, or eating properly and good nutrition, hydration, all the things.
All the things that keep you healthy, because that really is your foundation for everything.
I'm sure many of our listeners were hangry during AEP when you have back-to-back appointments and you get to 2:00 and you're like, I haven't eaten anything today. Like, you're not going to be the best version of yourself for your clients and or your family.
Definitely.
When you get home after a rough day like that. Like, people, you got to take care of yourself.
So the action for this is, and I'll go through each of the 4 pieces of the habit loop. So Q, you can start your day by reviewing your top 3 priorities. The craving is you can visualize a successful client meeting or sale. The response, take that necessary action. So client calls, networking, whatever that is. And then the reward, celebrate wins and even the small ones to stay motivated, and whatever that reward looks like for you and whatever celebration looks like for you.
I got a funny story about M&Ms. So we talked about this the other day. So I don't think there's very many people in this world that like cold calling. And I know there's rules against it and things like that. But sometimes even just, calling a referral can be a little nerve-wracking, right? You've never talked to this person, and no one likes rejection. But I set up a little system back when I started in insurance, was calling on leads, where I would have M&Ms on my table. Peanut M&Ms, listeners. They work.
Eric's favorite.
They even have protein in them. Is you set a number, right? Make 5 calls, get an M&M. Set an appointment, have 2. Whatever it is, maybe that's not the healthiest thing in the world, but if it works, it works. I also have done penalties. So if you didn't hit your metrics that day, maybe you have to work out extra long. Maybe you have to do those chores that you've been avoiding, or pick up a chore from a spouse that it's normally theirs, but now you're going to do it. Whatever. A lot of times people are motivated to go towards a goal or away from pain. And that will actually work well in your conversations with your clients as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So this next one is leveraging the power of community. And I'm going to shamelessly plug our Facebook group. It's the Finch Agent Community. It's completely free to join. It's on Facebook, and we'd love to have you. This is just a group of agents that we come together, and if you have questions, you can ask. Different resources there for you. We just would love to have you be a part of it.
Yeah, it's a private group.
It is
so
private,
you have the login. So we actually put a ton of resources on there that, more beyond what's just on our website, because we want you to have access to them. And we also have like carrier reps and other people on there where people can ask a question specifically about a carrier or what have you. And a lot of times either agents or carrier reps will answer themselves to get that question taken care of really quickly.
Yeah, it's really great. And we'd love to have you. So this leveraging power of community, the key idea around this is surrounding yourself with people who embody the habits you want to adopt. We have some really great successful agents in there. So surrounding yourself with, some other successful agents is going to be great. But this can apply to almost everything else too. If you have friends that are not doing the best things for them and are not influencing you in a positive way, then maybe choose to spend a little less time with them. But whatever that is. And then business application for this is surrounding yourself with a network of supportive agents and mentors. Yeah, we love that. That's pretty self-explanatory. So this action is join an agent mastermind group, attend industry events, and yet again, join the Finch Agent Community Group. We'd love to have you.
You had said something earlier about, I love that quote about reaching your goals, but more important, or you say it again, your goals and systems quote.
You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems.
So when you say systems, let's talk about that for a little while.
Absolutely. Yeah, you focus on your goals, keep your goals as the direction that you're headed, but focus a lot on your systems because those are what's going to support you.
I wonder when people hear systems,
Mm-hmm.
like there's CRM systems, there's calendar systems, there's like electronic reminders, but
Yeah.
they don't necessarily have to be.
Something else I love is an SOP. This is a standard operating procedure. So this is something that you can lay out for yourself where when I have a new client, this is my onboarding system. When I'm following up with leads, this is the system that I'm doing. I reach out in the morning, I send a follow-up email, whatever that looks like for you. These systems can be a lot of different things. And I love a standard operating procedure because you can repeat it. You can rinse and repeat it as many times as you need to, and it can apply to the other pieces of your business to help it grow. So thinking about those pieces that help your business, create a standard operating procedure for how you do that. So if you're too tired or if you're not motivated that day, you can take a look at what you need to do and you can just do it.
I like that. I know a lot of our listeners love referrals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you do your job right by a client and they tell their friends. Well, I know, your mom has gotten multiple referrals from the same person.
Mm-hmm.
Well, wouldn't you want that experience for all those referrals to be the same?
Exactly.
Because they probably all know each other somehow too, where, all of a sudden one you took to lunch, the other one you just left a voicemail, the other one just got an email. Like
You got to
it's
keep
all
it
over
consistent.
it's all over the place. And then how do you track when you do it differently every time? And there's, I'll talk out of both sides of my mouth for a second, because if you don't think your standard operating procedure is working or you don't like it, then you do need to try some different things.
Mm-hmm.
You could adopt another one. When you start using a new service, doctor, application, restaurant, whatever you're experiencing, if you like it, try to put it into your business.
Yeah.
We don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Mm-mm.
Sometimes it's important to slow down, do your review, and really think about what you're wanting to do going forward. I'm going to try to paint a mental picture for you of a great cartoon I saw years ago, Yana, where there's a caveman selling tires, stone round tires. And he's got his hand up. Again, it's a 2-panel cartoon. He's got his hand up trying to get the attention of 2 other cavemen pushing a cart with square wheels. And in the second panel, one of the people pushing the cart says, "No thanks, we're too busy." How many times in our life have we said, before we even knew what somebody was saying to us, "It's okay, I'm all set. I'm too busy to look at my systems. I'm too busy to reevaluate what I've been doing. Do you know how successful I am? I don't have time to do that." When, again, the success you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding, take some time to review what you're doing, what else is out there. I got another story if you want one in here.
You can tell as many stories as you
little
want.
Story time. Let's talk about knowing your competition. And many have said there is enough business for everyone. We don't need to be doing anything ill-hearted or ill will to our fellow agents, right? And I would agree with that. But we need to know what's out there. And my story is, again, from when I was a kid. I was blessed to be around some wonderful business owners. Tom Hartman from Hartman's Greenhouse in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. If you're listening, thank you. So Tom was headed out one day. He walked by Scott, his son, and myself, and he said, "Hey, I'll be on the other side of town. I'll be back later." And just curious, I said, "Well, where are you going?" And he mentioned, and I, for the life of me, can't remember the name of the company, but it was the other competing greenhouse to their business on the other side of town. And I said, "Well, why are you going there? That's that's the enemy. That's your competition. And he said, how can I do my best job for my customers if I don't know what my competition's doing for their customers? So he called the competitor and said, I'm going to be here on, he called ahead, like, a couple days ahead. I'm going to be there on Wednesday from 10 to noon, walking around. And I can do that myself, or you can escort me if you'd prefer. Because it's a public, and it's a greenhouse, right? It's a public store. Mm-hmm. And I've held on to that. And in some different areas of my life, like, so many people they're like afraid to admit that they might learn something, or that, well, you don't know what you're doing, so you had to come and see how we're doing it. But think about the ways we can do that now with technology. Mm-hmm. Looking at other people's websites. You think your website's amazing? Have you looked at your competition's websites? Maybe in some regards, absolutely, yours is, and that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. But we need to continue to reevaluate that and look at, how things are changing. And Tom knew his numbers so well, he didn't need to write anything down. He saw they were selling begonias for 50 cents less than he was, but they also looked like they were about to die. So he's like, I have better plants. I don't need to change my prices. He looked at the staff. He looked at the parking. He looked at what that experience is versus coming to him. And then he knew he could advertise more on that side of town because he had a better product and would ask people to drive further.
Yeah.
Then, how many of you work with clients outside of your area?
True. And I think what's interesting is all insurance agents, we're all selling the same thing. Mm. It's the same product. And I've always thought this was so interesting about the insurance industry is everyone's selling the same thing. What's different is you and the service you provide and the marketing you do and how you take care of clients. So if you have more consistent systems, if you are a little bit more reliable than another agent or whatever it is, and not to pit anyone against each other, we're all in this together at the same time, but it really is what makes you different as an agent and what you provide to people. Mm-hmm. And a quote that has stuck with me since my freshman year of high school is, people will never remember what you do, but they will remember how you make them feel. Mm. And I think that just really does apply to the insurance industry, because how you make your clients feel is what's going to make you memorable, because everyone's selling the same thing. Your clients can go directly to carriers and get their own. They don't have to work with you. So what makes people want to work with you?
You got to think about that and confirm, and it may change over time. Absolutely. Of why they work with you.
Yeah.
One interesting thing, and this is more of a poker reference, I do like to play a little poker as well, is most players can remember with very crystal clear clarity all their bad beats. When they were leading in the hand and they lost it on the river to bad luck, right? We can remember with clarity who was rude to us, who turned their head away or didn't say goodbye when they left the party or didn't write a thank you note when you got them something. It's human nature to remember how we're wronged. So it's almost like, don't wrong people.
Yeah. It takes 7 positive interactions with that person to overcome a negative experience. And you think these clients are going to give you 7 chances to make up for something? They're not.
Right. You got to nail it on the first one.
Yeah.
And then continue. And that's, I think, where, so if you have a phenomenal experience on the first one, and then a lackluster one on the second, and they always are going to remember your last interaction as well. So keeping it consistent. It doesn't need to be, fireworks and, confetti every time, but staying consistent will help.
And bringing all of that back to our systems help with that consistency. So think about your best client interaction, a day you just, and I know we are wired to remember the bad ones, but think about a really good one where you just nailed it. The client was great. It was a great experience, and map out that system.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
Try to clone that one.
Yep. And I mean, these standard operating procedures, these things can just be written down on a Google Doc, and just these are the actions that I follow, and this is my process.
You want to talk about money? A lot of people don't like to talk about money.
We can definitely talk about money.
I talk with so many agents that say they're not in it for the money. I like that question. So if you're not in it for the money, I'm guessing you're in it to help people. And that is one of my love languages, if you will, or I just love to help people with whatever they're doing.
Yep.
And
hence why you're helping me with this podcast.
Yeah, I hope I'm helping. I don't know. I don't know that I am. But if you're not motivated by money, you're motivated by helping people. The more money you make will free you up to help more people.
Totally.
You could hire staff so you could you could help more people. You could invest in more technology to move you faster so you could help more people. Mm-hmm. You could donate that extra money to other causes that you're passionate about to help more people. Mm-hmm. So we say it's not about the money. I get it. You're not motivated by the money. But again, helping more people will bring more money. So think about it maybe that way. Maybe on your vision board, which we're going to get into here in a second, I think, is it's not dollar signs. It's maybe you have a collage of all of your clients' faces and have an open area. So when people ask, oh, what is that? Those are all the people I helped, and I have room for more. I want to help more people.
That's cute.
Oh, it's so cute.
So cute.
So we talked about if you're not motivated by money, and some people are motivated by money, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to make $1 million, you don't just randomly start just making phone calls and hoping for $1 million, right? Let's work the numbers backwards. Mm-hmm. So you know what you make when you sell a certain product. So you can look at it and saying, well, if I sell, 1,000 of these, I'll get to $1 million. Mm-hmm. Or there's other products that pay more. Mm-hmm. And say, well, if I sell 500 of these, then I would get to my goal. Right. And there's generally a mix that happens. So we know what we're making when we sell that product, but how do we get to the opportunity to sell that product? How many meetings do you have to have? And we talk about metrics and stats. Mm-hmm. Do you know what it takes? Yana, I'm not a baseball person, but what does it take to get in the Hall of Fame for a hitter in baseball? It's called about 300. And that's on a 1,000, 300 out of 1,000 at bats, they'll get a hit. Okay. So you're batting 300, it's 30%. Mm-hmm. So 30% of the time they get a hit, they're in the Hall of Fame. If you sell 30% of all of your calls, I don't know that you're going to stay in business. Yeah. Or you're just having a lot of meetings, right? So, but you need to look at your batting average and saying, every time I pick up the phone and I call, whether it's a lead, a prospect, a referral, how many calls am I making to get an appointment? Mm-hmm. How many emails am I sending to get an appointment? How many times am I introducing myself to referral partners to get an appointment? And then how many appointments do I have to run to get a sale? Mm-hmm. You figure out your batting average and say, holy cow, to make $1 million, I need to run 10,000 appointments this year. Probably not very realistic. Yeah. But, and everybody's numbers are their own, that's a starting point and saying, okay, well, I don't have to make $1 million, but I want to. I'm going to start running this game and tracking. And if I become a better hitter, I become more efficient with my time, that I can get closer to those numbers and I can be better Or on the flip side, again, if we're not motivated by money, you get really good and you don't have to work as much.
Mm-hmm.
Because the biggest blessing I feel like this industry has is flexibility.
I totally agree with that. Yeah.
You can work when you want to, not because you have to.
Mm-hmm.
If you're really good at what you do, you can decide, I'm going to make a lot of money, I'll take a lot of time off, maybe both,
Mm-hmm.
and spend more time with my family, friends, travel, all those things where you can build the life that you want, but you've got to have some structure.
You've got to have some structure and you've got to have some direction. So whatever that revenue goal is, break down how many meetings, how many clients you need, and how many policies written of, and based on whatever policy it is or product it is, how many of this do I need? How many of this do I need? Okay, well, if I get 10 of this and 20 of these, then I'm at my goal, or whatever that is. Your goal can be whatever you want, and however you get there is up to you.
When you were in school, did you ever make a paper chain where it was like a countdown to Christmas break or something like
yeah.
that? You remember those paper chains? So I'm a little goofy, if you haven't figured that out. At a previous job that I had, I was selling truckloads of concrete. And Eric Colby, if you're listening, thank you for listening. He had a goal. We set a sales goal for this customer of mine. It was, I was a distributor for concrete materials and he was a dealer. And we had a sales goal where if he, based on truckloads. So every time I made a paper chain, I was like 40 years old and I'm making craft projects for my customers.
How old were your kids at this time?
Yeah, they were beyond fifth grade, that's for sure. So, and I made it, I numbered all of the truckloads. So one was at the bottom. So when he ordered a truckload, he would just cut it or rip it. And it was a constant, and I hung it in his office, and it was a constant reminder that how close he was getting to his goal.
Mm-hmm.
So he could see it. And he hit his goal that year, which was fantastic.
That's amazing.
For both of us, right? And his customers as well. So I think that visual, and we're going to get into vision boards here, whatever works to keep it in your mind. What's that saying? I thought it was Abraham Lincoln, but that might be wrong, where if you say you can or you say you can't, you're right.
Oh, it's definitely a president. I don't remember which one.
I thought it was Lincoln. I went to Lincoln High School, so I should know that, but maybe we'll look that up.
Yeah.
But I think it just goes to, and I've said this with golf, I've never hit a good shot when I didn't think that I could. Where people are like, you have 180 yards over water and it's like, I'm going to hit it in the water. Well, yeah, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that, yeah, that's what you were thinking about.
Henry Ford.
Well, we should all know that in Michigan. Where if you go into a sale or you go into an appointment or a guidance, however you determine what you're going in there to do, and you say, they're not going to go for this, you might as well not go in.
Yeah.
They don't have the money to do what I'm going to show them. Nobody else has gotten one of these. Like, you're fulfilling that prophecy. You're coming in with low energy, negativity. You're
setting yourself up for failure.
And you need to be ready for the rebuttals.
Of course.
And, and have the discussion, figure it out. And at the end of the day, it's their decision what they want to do. That's great. But you have to come in. It's, there was another one where, like, the people at Disney, right? The characters dressed up in the costumes and, Cinderella, like, they got to put their stage face on.
Oh, yeah.
Regardless of what's going on in their life. Their kid's sick. Their husband didn't get the promotion they were hoping for. Like, sorry, life's not treating you well right now, but it's time to get on stage and do your thing.
Still got to bring the energy.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely do.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about vision boards.
Yes.
Yana, you have more experience with these than I do, but please lead us off.
Yeah. So in short, basically, and I can go pretty deep into this, honestly, but for everyone listening, a vision board can help you focus your brain's attention. It can strengthen your goal-oriented neural connections. There's a neuroscience behind this. And it boosts your motivation through positive reinforcement. Visualization and the reticular activating system. This is in your brain, the RAS. I'm going to call it that.
Not the Riz.
Not the RIS, the RAS. RAS. This acts as like a filter for your brain, and it prioritizes information that aligns with your focus. So by regularly seeing and emotionally engaging with a vision board, you train your RAS to notice opportunities and resources that can help you achieve your goal. So just by focusing on these things, you start to open up your brain and your focus to seeing these other opportunities that you might not have seen before, which is pretty cool.
I love it.
It's like changing the filter of a photo so you can see different things. Neuroplasticity of your brain. So the repeated visualization of your goals strengthens your neural pathways, making your desired outcomes feel way more achievable, which is really fun. This process rewires your brain and increases motivation and goal-directed behavior. So it can impact and influence how you behave to achieve your goals.
It's interesting. It's almost like, let's say I've heard people say, like, their vision or their big goal is like a supercar, right? A McLaren, Lambo, whatever.
Yeah.
And some are doing it just for status. Like they've never even driven one.
Yeah.
I've heard and I'd be curious if anybody else has ever been told by a sales manager to go test drive an awesome car to remotivate you to make more money so you can afford that car.
Yeah.
It makes it like more real that you've actually done it and you want
Yep.
that feeling again. What's really interesting, and I don't know if this is for just me or other people, is like, I actually drove through my old neighborhood this morning on the way to work. And when I was living there, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a really nice place. I really like this. We had put a lot of effort and work into it. And since then, we've moved and actually built a house. And now I look back at that house that I lived in, I'm like, no, I would not want to go back. Thankfully, I've leveled up, I feel. But that doesn't mean I need to stop doing that. What is the next vision? Is it, for me, I've got, teenage kids and a 10-year-old where, college funding is going to be on my vision board.
Oh yeah. I have two more points to make and then we
Please.
can move on from it. But this third piece of vision boards is emotional engagement and dopamine. So when you visualize positive future outcomes, your brain releases dopamine, which is the feel-good neurotransmitter. So this enhances your mood and also reinforces your motivation by creating that reward loop.
I've heard that's why scrolling is so popular.
Oh,
Is
for sure.
You get hit with dopamine because when you're looking for something and you find something that you like, that's why the algorithm puts a lot of things that you like in there.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why we don't stop. So we should scroll our vision board.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and make it feel like you're there. And also, I mean, there's a positive and a negative thing. You also have to believe that it's attainable. Because if you're looking at a vision board and thinking, "Oh, I'm never going to get there," you're never going to get there. So when you look at your vision board, picture yourself experiencing those things, picture yourself achieving those things, and just reinforce that it's possible and happening for you. Yeah. So this last point I'm going to make is it's called priming. So vision boards prime your subconscious mind by embedding goals and desires into your daily thought patterns. So this primes your brain to act in ways that align with those goals and behave in ways that are in alignment with what's on your vision board.
What your ultimate goals are, because we can get sidetracked. And I think about, a lot of people, it's, around the new year, we start thinking about our goals, and a lot of people, want to get in shape, lose weight, what have you. And I've found it's always easier to do that when you have when I have a trip on the calendar,
Whatever motivates you.
a spring break. So, again, it gives me a timeline and that it can kind of remind me like, no, don't have that donut that the carriers brought in.
Yeah.
Thank you, but I am trying to avoid those things.
Nothing is more motivating than my wedding.
Mm.
I have 8 months. But vision boards they can really help you to rewire your brain, to focus your attention, ultimately achieve what you want.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And it doesn't, I think some people think of it as like vanity, like, oh, I got to put, a car and a house and different, like
You can put whatever you want.
by what things like you and Sydney do flowers in the office, right? If you really like put some flowers on there,
Yeah.
and maybe that's one of your, short-term goals, rewards is you hit that goal and we're going to get some flowers that you can enjoy or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be just buying things.
Yeah.
Having enough success to set aside time to volunteer at your favorite nonprofit.
Totally.
Again, keeps that in front of you and keeps you reminded so that at the end of the year, you're not like, oh yeah, I really wanted to spend more time, but I was too busy.
So in the conclusion of this podcast episode, our first episode in the start of 2025, we just want to remind you that your success in 2025 starts with actions that you take today. So reflect and refine your processes and make it the best year yet. Start your review process and track your metrics. Write down your goals and work those numbers backwards to see what you need to achieve and implement them. Change your habits, create a vision board, and do all the good things for 2025. And yeah.
I would like to throw out a challenge, Yana.
Go for it.
I would like to challenge our listeners to email us a picture of their vision board.
That'd be fun.
And I'm going to buy lunch for the best one. And you can choose to have me there or not. It's up to you. But we would love for you to submit. You could send them to me directly. It's Eric, ERIC, at agentequitygroup.com. Send me a picture of your vision board. We'll give you a little bit of time and we'll pick a winner and I will take you to lunch.
I love that. That's great. So thank you for tuning in to our first episode. We hope that you found some value in this. We hope that you have some takeaways. And we just hope that you have a great year. So this is just the beginning. We're going to be doing a weekly episode. So tune in, subscribe, like, share, all the things to help support if you enjoyed this and if you got anything from this. Yeah, we're going to be bringing you insights, strategies, and inspiration to help you grow your business. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Yana.
Thank you, Eric. Thanks for listening to Agents Confidential.